Right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Real Reds Talk, an authentic football fan channel made in Manchester. This is some breaking transfer news following the 1-1 draw against Ipswich. No surprise there. We always get some little kind of tidbits after a loss or a draw. If there's any kind of slight negative result, we hear these kind of, I don't know what you want to call it, but crowd appeasing pieces, if you will. We're going to discuss Giovanni. I can't pronounce his second name. Quenda. It's been pronounced. Can you say it, Sam? I don't know how it's pronounced myself.
I mean, the Portuguese are weird because you look at Bruno Fernandes and he's actually pronounced Bruno Fernandes. So
Yeah.
it could be anything. I have no fucking idea.
How do
Go
you say
Quenda.
it? Quenda.
I would say Quenda. But
Okay.
in all honesty, it could be anything because Fred is Fredge, apparently.
Okay, we'll go with Quenda. Mateus Cunha, I could definitely pronounce that one.
Yes.
Apparently, we are monitoring Mateus Cunha, which is interesting. We've got a Lenny Yoro update on his. Everyone thought he had a setback, but he's not. There's some further details on that. I want to discuss Joshua Zirkzee because there's a lot of stuff out there online about him at the moment. And then, whilst we're on the conversation of Dutch strikers, Ruud van Nistelrooy is one of the favourites to take over at Leicester, so we'll get Sam's thoughts on that as well. Just on Quenda, Sam, the reports, the fees that have been knocked about 60 million euros plus bonuses just for him to arrive in the summer. Apparently, Sporting are open to negotiating with United, which is no surprise because that price is extremely extortionate in my opinion. Have they got the money to spend that much on a wing back?
No, not for, what is he, 17, 16,
yeah,
17?
Young kid, very young kid. Very talented.
It's great. No, good player. Really impressed with what I've seen from him so far. But 60, 70 million for a 17-year-old is insane. When he's not, like, he's a good player, but he's not the guy where it's like, oh my God, this is the superstar in the making. Do you know what I mean? This is not an Erling Haaland at like 20 or I'm trying to think of somebody off the top of my head. Jude Bellingham at 18, where you're like, this is going to be the next big thing. He's not that guy. He's a good player. Potentially could be a world-class player. So 60, 70 million euro, it feels like Sporting slapping a price tag at him to kind of put people off from coming in. And if they have to let him go, they get a big price for him. So if we are going to buy him, it's not going to be at that price. I think it's just not going to happen, especially in January.
Yeah, January, you could definitely write it off. I think that's why they reference the summer, to be fair. I know he does have a release clause, but I'm not sure. The weird thing is release clauses, you never know when they're active or if there's certain things, because apparently Gyökeres had a 100 million release clause, but then apparently he's got a gentleman's agreement where he can go for like 60 odd million. So no clue on that. I'm sure they are, like I said, willing to negotiate because that is a lot of money. To consider we paid 15 million quid for Madraoui to then ask for like 60 odd million pound for a young kind of wing back.
We paid just under 60 for Yoro, and he's supposedly generational talent, and you want 60, 70 million euros for Quenda, who's not been labelled generational talent. It's a bit much, I think.
Interesting. When you look at the wing backs yesterday, obviously you had Diego Dalot there and you had Ahmad there. Was you surprised first and foremost that both of them had started in the positions, and what did you make of both guys in those areas?
No, not surprised. I think we spoke to James from the Mupteers and he mentioned that some of the wingers are gonna play as wing backs, and then we got trashed on Twitter and on X for suggesting it. So many replies and comments. He's never going to play Ahmad as a wing back. He's never going to play as a wing back. Started him as a wing back. So whatever information James gets is clearly on the money because it turned out to be correct. I thought Ahmad played exceptional. I thought he was great. I thought really good going forward. You saw in the first minute the effectiveness of having a wing back, getting that ball across to Rashford and getting the goal. I thought he was excellent, really good decision making. He's surprisingly physical for his size. Like, you think with his small stature, he wouldn't be that physical, but he's quite good. He don't get knocked off the ball that easily. So I thought he was decent. Dalot, I think, might be a problem. I think he might be an issue.
What stands out about Dalot to you?
He wants to invert all the time. He wants to come inside, and I think in the Sporting system that Amrin, I think, is trying to implement, he wants his wing backs to stay wide because that's where the width is going to come from with the 210s, and especially with the striker up front. So he wants the width to come for the wing backs, and Dalot always wants to come into the midfield and wants to cut in and come into that midfield position, and you just lose the width on whatever side he's on. I think Mazraoui would have been a better choice at the wing back if you're going to play Ahmad. I thought Ahmad and Mazraoui would have been a better choice. And unless Dallo sort of develops, obviously it's the first game, so maybe Dallo grows into that role and sort of becomes better at it. And I think Dallo's got a defensive switch off in him as well, which we've seen this season and last season already. So I think, yeah, Dallo's is a worry for me, but hopefully he gets it together and it sort of works on the system and gets better at it. But Ahmad was excellent, and I think Mazraoui will be a better option. Or if you want to do, if Luke Shaw can stay fit, Mazraoui, Luke Shaw, I think that could be a really good sort of wing back, full back option.
It's weird because I felt like Dallo was on a path. I don't know if it was like last season where everyone was like, got to be in the team. He's training amazing. He's improving every single game, week in, week out. And now I feel like there's a lot of people questioning his performances and saying, you know what, I'm actually not sure on this kid. I don't know if he can be a world-class kind of starting player for us. When you look at how well Mazraoui is performing as well, I mean, maybe there's something in that, because when you're comparing him to Wan-Bissaka when he was at the club, it was kind of like, well, these are both kind of subpar or average. It's not much difference. But then you watch Mazraoui performing, you're like, well, we could do with another one of those in Dallo's position. So yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. The thing is with Dallo, he is kind of versatile, which is every kind of squad needs that. So I'm not saying he'll be put by the wayside, but whether he'll be a starter or not, I'm not entirely convinced at the moment.
I don't think he has the quality to be a world-class wing back, and we need somebody world-class. Like, we need somebody that step up above. Like, you need somebody, I think, like, if we're just going to go off names off the top of my head, like a Frimpong, that'd be a really good option. Mazraoui and Frimpong, I think that could be an excellent thing. And then you maybe use Luke Shaw at the left foot, the left wing back, and then also at left centre back. So he's not playing too many games. You can rotate him in and out. Frimpong, Mazraoui, I think that could be a really good sort of wing back partnership, because I think Mazraoui could definitely do that job. I think he's perfect for it, because he just seems to thrive anywhere. He played right centre back on Sunday.
Yeah.
And he was fantastic at it. And he's just like, how many positions has he played for? He's played the 10. He's played like left centre back. He's played left back, right back, and he's been great every single time. So I have no worries about him.
I'm not a fan of, and I said this straight after the review last night, I'm not a fan of Ahmad playing wing back. I think he's too good to be playing. I think he did a really good job there. Yeah.
He should be
one of the attacking 10s, 1,000,000%. Because I looked at the second half last night, and he's so deep. Like, he's basically near Mazraoui and near like De Ligt. And like that is not he can do it, but he should be right at the other end of the pitch affecting it. And you look at his metrics in the past couple of games, he's getting assists and he's getting goals. So obviously you want him in the attacking areas, and I don't want to see him there. So if it means bringing in Quenda and you can move Mazraoui over to the left wing back, you put Yoro at right centre back and Shaw at left centre back, I think you're all right there. Bring Ugarte and Kobe in the middle. But then there's still huge question marks around the attack, Sam, and that's where Matheus Cunha could potentially come in. Now, I'm not sure how much you've watched him at Wolves, or I'm not expecting, kind of expert analysis, but is this a player you would look at to bring to Manchester United?
You know what? I have been looking at Wolves, because I think they develop some really good players. Like, you've seen a lot of big players move on from there, like Diego Jota, Pedro Neto. Like, you've seen people move from there who have gone on to have sort of really good careers. Like, I think Jota's probably injury concerns, but I think at Liverpool he's probably their best finisher. Like, I think his finishing is fantastic. But obviously injury prone. Pedro Neto's made a really good splash at Chelsea. I think he's been really good. I think they developed some really good players. Obviously, they've got that Portuguese connection with Jorge Mendes. We've been linked with, is it Alt Nori?
Eight Nori we've been linked with, and Gomez in the midfield.
Gomez. So there was that Ruben Neves link for a long time that I was a big fan of. I loved Ruben Neves. Thought he was a great player. So yeah, I think they've got a reputation of developing some really good talent. I think Gary O'Neill's a really good coach, and they were really unlucky. And now he seems to be getting the results now, don't he? They played exceptionally well at the weekend. Who did they batter? Fulham? Was it Fulham they battered?
Yeah, I think they beat
4-1. 4-1.
Was it 4-1? I thought they beat them 2-1.
I think so. No, I think it's 4-1. And Cunha scored 2 fantastic goals, like really fucking stunning goals. There was one for a pass. I can't remember who made the pass, and it was over the top. He took 2 touches and then dinked it over the goalie. Phenomenal goal. Absolute phenomenal goal. So I like him a lot. And me and my girlfriend have been watching like Wolves games and him on like Match of the Day and stuff. And she points him out all the time. And he's like, I think he's an exciting striker. And I think with the right coach. I think Gary O'Neill mentioned it in his interview. With the right coaching, they know they've got a world class player, but it's unlocking, getting him in the right positions to score goals and stuff like that. And they seem to be doing it that this season. I don't know what his goal record is this season off the
I'll
top
tell
of my
you,
head.
7 goals and 3 assists in 12 games.
That's a good record.
In a Wolves team.
in a Wolves team that was malfunctioning the first half of the season, the first bit of the season.
Yeah.
So I think that's a pretty good record for me. Like, I like him a lot. I think we could do a lot worse. Didn't get like this is a guy who's a proven goal scorer, but how much are Wolves going to put on a price tag? Because every time we've gone to Wolves, they've slapped. What did they say about Ruben Neves? 90 million? Did they want?
Yeah.
Is that how much? God knows how much they'd ask for. Like, it'd be insane amount of money.
I'm just going to check his contract situation actually, because it all depends on that. Who's got like the power? Matheus Cunha. Because obviously, if it's like a year left or something ridiculous like that, then you can go in with like £30 million bids or whatever.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. So contract expires June 2027, June 30th, which is like a couple years away. So they've still got the holding power market.
2.5 years.
Yeah, so they still could ask easily for 50-60 million. If not, they'll be a bit more like pushy with it. So, but yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I think Cunha, especially in this system, you look at where he's played for Wolves. He's played as an attacking midfielder, either wing, as a striker. I think he would fit in perfectly, and he's a really good addition. And I think he's one of those players where you see at a club like an Ivan Toney at Brentford, who's ready to kind of take that next step up. So if we do go in for him, then yeah. I think 26, 27, I believe. Let me have a look.
He's
25.
All right, so he's not even at his peak yet. So you could get him for his best years if you went for him like now. Like, you get him in his best sort of years. Like, cause a striker traditionally is like 27 when he start hitting like peak form. So I like him a lot, but yeah, I think he'd cost fortune. Like, I think Wolves would be asking 70-80 million for him minimum.
Yeah. Speaking of cost of the fortune, Lenny Yoro has not suffered a setback despite not being included in Ipswich, because I think there was a lot of raised eyebrows from fans when he wasn't in the team, or at least on the bench. Likewise, Lisandro Martinez, who's out for a couple of weeks himself. Apparently, he's continuing planned reintegration following the injury sustained during pre-season. Obviously, we'll have the preview for the Bodo Glimt game probably tomorrow, but you would expect him surely to come in there and at least feature on the bench, right?
I think that would be a good game for him. I think Ipswich is a tough prospect, especially under a Kieran McKenna team. I think that's quite a way as well. I think that's a tough game to sort of come into for your first game ever, first ever competitive game for Man United. And there's no easy games in any team, but I think Bodo Glimt, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, does anybody know anything about Bodo Glimt?
No. The only reason why I know anything about him is because I listened to Talk the Devils before, and Jan Argefjordsson was speaking about him. So that's the only reason why I would know anything. But apart from that, no.
Well, I know nothing. I'm going to assume they're not the greatest of teams in the world. So I think that would be a really good option. Maybe he doesn't start, but I think I'd expect him to be on the bench. I would expect him to be on the bench and maybe get 15, 20 minutes or something towards the end. That'd be nice to see.
You think others as well? Because obviously you had Mainu on the bench, you had
Shaw came on, didn't he? Yeah, you could see those. There's been a lot of talk, hasn't there, of people saying they don't want to rush people back. Yeah, they don't want to start people and stuff like that, because they don't want to risk the injury. And obviously, we know with Shaw and Mount, that's a massive issue, like the injury issues. We didn't even see Mainu come on, did we? Yesterday, so. How far away is he? He must be further behind than Shaw and Mount, because they came onto the pitch at some point. So he must be further behind. So I imagine they don't want to risk too many. So it will be interesting to see what he changes, because I thought that midfield didn't work at all. And then obviously the front three is a serious problem, because where would you put there to score goals? So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Like I don't know what I'm going to pick for my 11. I really don't. Like that, I'm going to struggle with that one.
I feel like he's taking care of the ones and not playing the ones that he's going to eventually put into the team. So like Kobe and Ugarte, you saw really kind of prioritize it, because you looked at Casemiro and Eriksen in that midfield, and it was like it was a bit of a slug to watch it, both of them. Like a billion on
Johnny
the
Evans,
fine.
Johnny Evans as
he's
well
another one.
was getting
on the ball, no problem whatsoever. Off it, is troubling in a lot of the areas. So bringing in some youthfulness with Yoro, Ugarte, and Mainu, I think it's just an obvious one for me personally. So yeah, I hope he gets some minutes and hopefully doesn't have a bit of a setback like Leach did, didn't he, when he first came back from his metatarsal injury. So
Shaw did as well. Remember when Shaw was out for a couple of weeks and then we brought him up? Was it West Ham or Crystal Palace or something?
I think.
Luton, and then he went straight off after like 20 minutes, didn't he? And then that was it. We didn't see him till yesterday. So
yeah, agreed. Now another player who came off the bench, Joshua Zirkzee, Sam. A lot of stuff online about him at the moment. People not having him whatsoever. Saying he's not adapting to the Premier League. I know it's only, I don't know, 7, 8 games. We have discussed this before, but he does look a bit off it, doesn't he? Every time I see him, I'm like, and it's weird because I don't know if it's just a confidence thing. Because when we watched him against Fulham, obviously I know he got the goal, but before that he was linking play and he was quite fluid and drifting. And I was like, okay, I can see why they signed him.
He did it against Crystal Palace really well as well. Like he was linking up and sort of dropping and stuff like that. I saw that at Crystal Palace as well. Really impressed with him against Crystal Palace.
Yeah, and then like some of the games recently, I watched when he came on against Fenerbahce, and then since then each game he's come on, I'm watching it. I'm like, I think this could end up being a dud. What I'm seeing, I know players can turn it around, but I am not sold on this guy whatsoever at the moment. Really, really not.
It's understandable. Like he has definitely been underwhelming. I would describe it as he's been a very underwhelming signing so far. I expected a bit more than what I'm seeing. I think, like you said, it's a bit early. We're 9-10 games into the season plus whatever cup games we've played. So I think it's early. I'm willing to give him the season, and I think Amorim will give him the season. He mentioned, didn't he, in his post-match interview, saying we need to be better at decision making, and he pointed out the Zirkzee thing, didn't he, when he sort of pops that shot off when he's outside of the box and skied it. So I think I'm willing to give him the season and give him the benefit of the doubt to get it together this season. But obviously, Amorim's going to make that decision this season and see what he's about. And I think you might see a couple of players go next summer when Amorim works out, like you said, who he can trust, who he wants around, who he's going to fit into his system and stuff like that. And maybe Zirkzee ends up as a casualty. I'm not ready to write him off just yet. Like this is not an Anthony case where we've seen it and he's played 2-3 seasons and he's not delivering. Like he can go. Or an Anthony Martial where he's just consistently injured. Luke Shaw's another one who I would sort of wash my hands with. Mason Mount's reaching that level. Like if Mason Mount can't stay fit this season, I would wash my hands with him next summer. But I'm willing to give him a season at least just to see what he's got. But he definitely has been underwhelming. He needs to step up.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just really not. Every time I'm trying to look for something from him to grab hold of and like, okay, we can work with that. And Chivy mentioned in the chat before, like, he's becoming a scapegoat. He's not a scapegoat. He's just been performing shit. So fans have every right to focus on him. But, you know, I've not just spoken about him. Rashford's been pretty shit despite the goal. Yep. I think Garnacho struggled in certain areas yesterday. Ericsson, Casemiro, like, there's a lot of players who have spoken about. And he's a part of that. Whenever he's come on, you have to face the facts. He has been shit. He's not been one. He's been half decent performances against Palace, like you referenced, and the one against Fulham. And apart from that, no more. And he's someone who costs, you know, probably 40 million with all the agent fees included.
Yeah.
But on about £100,000 a week, I believe. So there are expectations, and when they don't deliver, I think United fans have every right to kind of criticise him.
I think Amorim will be ruthless though. Like I think if it does happen, like if he does not perform this season, you will see Ruben Amorim go, he's not good enough, and he'll go. Yeah. He'll go next summer.
Does seem very honest, Amorim, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's not going to suffer. Like you saw with the substitutions, like he's ruthless. 52 minutes in, he realised Casemiro and Johnny Evans were getting absolutely destroyed. Right, get them off, swap them out, and we got control of the game after that. Luke Shaw came on, Ugarte came on, and we made control of that game. Obviously, the scoring was still an issue. The forwards were still an issue, not getting the goals. But we seemed to get control of that game because in the first half, we were just getting run ragged and just destroyed. So I think he's ruthless like that. He will change things. So I think this summer you will see whether we're able to sell him or not and make money. That's another thing. But he will basically go, he's not good enough. And he's done that at Sporting as well. Like he's done with players where it's like, he's not working, gone. So you'll probably see that if he doesn't get up to grips with it or doesn't get up to standard, you'll see him go.
Right, let's go to the comments then. We've got Lumen, Munsey Talk, Sid the Whistle, Donovan Sukram, Dennis and Mahoney, all kind of typing in their opinions. Why is it that United have this brilliant record for bringing players through from the academy, but we've never brought through a goal scorer? That's a very good point, to be fair. Obviously, you had Mason Greenwood, didn't you?
Yeah, as I say, we did, but he's a rapist scumbag.
Yeah. Donovan Sukram, I wanted to walk out after watching Dalot constantly play the ball back to Evans. Yeah, you know what? I was focusing on the passing network yesterday, and it was just centre back to centre back, centre back to wing back, back to centre back, back to the wing back. No progression whatsoever, and Dalot and Evans were a big part of that. Dalot was terrible again. If you're on the bench, you are fit. Rashford has defo gone off the boil. Shaw, Lindelof, Maguire, Anthony all need to leave. As for all these players being unfit physically. It's going to be a pain. Remember, Klopp's first season, he stuck to his playing style and got rid of those who didn't fit and got players who could. The rest is history. And Xerxes like buying Berbatov from Temu. Yeah, all make very, very valid points. The one on Klopp, I'm like, I had a Liverpool fan trying to give me shit today because obviously they're having a great season, the top of the league. Yeah. And it was like, oh, they're all stopped talking about him now. He was supposed to be the next one and da-da-da. And I was like, mate, Klopp drew 0-0 in his first game. And look, and he
also, did he finish like 9th in his first season?
Yeah, like, it's going to happen. But that's probably where we're going to finish. I think we just have to accept the facts that we are genuinely a mid-table Premier League team. Like, that is the reality of the situation at the minute. It's not even... We've gone from competing top 4, gone from 6th to 8th to, like, now 8th to 10th. I think that's where we're going to finish.
We are a Europa League, Europa Conference League team. That's who we are at the minute. Yeah. Right. That's where we are.
Yeah, unfortunately. Let's not spend too long on that because it's depressing. No. Last story. We were speaking about a Dutch striker there in Joshua Zirkzee. Our former interim/assistant coach is one of the 2 leading candidates to replace Sneeze Cooper at Leicester City. He's up against Graham Potter, apparently. There are other contenders in there. Would this be a good fit for Ruud, Sam?
I mean, he's back in the Premier League, so I'd be happy with that. I'm down with that. And we've already played Leicester at home, so... Won't have to worry about that sort of situation.
Good point.
Yeah, I why not give him an opportunity? I've heard Hamburg as well. They've sat their manager. They're interested in him as well, so that could be another potential. Yeah, it'd be great to see Ruud in the Premier League again. I know he loves English football. He loves United. It'd be a good mark on his CV if he can stabilise Leicester and get him staying in the Premier League. So yeah, why not? I don't see why not. Like they could do a lot worse. Graham Potter, didn't he want to offer the job for Leicester in the summer and then didn't end up taking it? I'm sure I read
I'm sure he's been offered a few jobs and he's been like...
So I don't understand what's changed in that time if he turned it down already. So yeah, could be interesting. But yeah, why not?
I think I've seen David Moyes on the list as well. That's the one I'd look at and I'd be like, I'd go for him. Right
if he wants to go back to West Ham, I just wait it out because Lopetegui will lose his job. If he imagine if he loses to Newcastle tonight, he may well lose his job. Well lose his job. So you might get Aaron's prediction of Moyes returning to West Ham
and Ruud being interim. Both nailed on, wouldn't they?
It's come true. So
crazy. No, I think I'd be happy to see Ruud in the Premier League. Whether it's necessarily a perfect fit for Leicester, I don't know. But I was quite surprised that they let Steve Cooper go, to be fair. Because you think about someone with experience near the bottom of the table, who's been there in the relegation fight before with Nottingham Forest and successfully kept him up. Yeah. And to get rid of him, it's like, you must be confident on the next guy coming in if you're going to get rid of him.
They sort of they struck gold, didn't they, with Maresca? When they got him, and they ran away with the championship, didn't they? And won it easily. And then he obviously went to Chelsea. I'm sure I saw a video of a bunch of Leicester players in a nightclub with we miss Enzo or we miss Maresca sign or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, they struck gold, and obviously Chelsea snatched him, and now they're sort of in that period where they're trying to find the next fit. And I think Graham Potter's a good manager. I do. But I just think Chelsea have tarnished his reputation. But I do think he's a good manager. So I think he could be a good fit for them.
Yeah, I think his stock was extremely high, wasn't it? When he was leaving from Brighton, there was a lot of clubs interested. He was being linked with the big boys, including ourselves, including quite a few teams in Europe. And he's had quite a while out as well.
Yeah.
I don't. When did he leave Chelsea? A couple of years ago? 2 years ago?
Yeah, last season. mid last season, and then he got offered Ajax job. He turned that down.
Yeah, remember that.
Did he get interviewed for the England job? I'm sure he did. I'm sure.
I don't know if he got interviewed. He got linked with it for sure.
And then he spoke to Leicester as well, and then obviously he was linked with us. So yeah, I'm surprised. I'm really surprised.
Do you guys think Mazraoui can play as a right wing back? Listen, mate,
yes.
Mazraoui can play wherever he wants.
He can play goalkeeper. He can play goalkeeper, mate.
He's got the wingspan for goalkeeper.
Phenomenal. He's a phenomenal player.
Yeah. Steve Cooper's next job is in acting, playing the next Bond villain. Apparently, that's from James McCrocken. That's funny, man. I think he'll end up going back down to the Championship or something. I think this is like the first season that I've watched. Like, not a lot of managers have been sacked. Usually by this point, you see what 3, 4, maybe.
Yeah,
I felt like 2 have gone.
I'm surprised the Southampton manager hasn't been sacked because he's been battered. Yeah. He's been battered quite. They don't won a game. Have they won a game?
They've won one game against
Everton. They've lost the rest. Yeah, and they've lost the rest. So I'm surprised he's still there.
Yeah.
Obviously Leicester's now the first one. You normally see it just before Christmas, though, don't you? You normally see a bunch because heading into January, that's when you tend to see it. So maybe I think Lopetegui's probably next on the chopping block. If I were to guess and put a bet on it, I would say Lopetegui's next.
I can see that. Glasner throw up there as well. 1 win still in like 12 games for Glasner.
Yeah.
He's really, really struggled. Although I do like him as a manager. I liked him last season.
He's a good manager.
He came in and done well, but they are struggling. 19th in the league at the minute on 8 points.
Yeah.
It's not looking great for them. So Lopetegui and Glasner, watch out, lads. You could be next. But yeah, as you alluded to, there is a game on tonight. There's football, and then we've got Champions League football, and then we've got Europa League football for United on Thursday, and then we play Everton on the weekend. So as always, busy week for Real Red Stock on this channel. So please do hit that subscribe button, absolutely free. It takes 2 seconds in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. On the road to 10k, we're nearly 1,500 off, which is amazing. And yeah, if you can leave a like on the video for us before you head off, that'd be really appreciated as well. And thanks for joining me, Sam.
Yeah, no worries. Follow all the socials. We're on Blue Sky now as well, so please do go follow us. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all that good stuff. Leave comments, likes, share it around. It'd be appreciated.
Absolutely. And we'll see you guys tomorrow.